Jonathan Coelho was 32 years old, a cancer survivor, but in good health when his wife says he began showing early symptoms of coronavirus about a month ago. He underwent a series of treatments, was intubated. Doctors told his wife, Katie, they expected him to survive. He didn't. Katie was called to the hospital in the middle of the night the day before yesterday. Her husband had suffered cardiac arrest, and she later learned that Jonathan had left her a note in his phone about his devotion to her and their two children. How are you holding up? How are you holding up?
It comes in waves. It's very surreal. But I keep thinking in my head, there's gonna be a time where I've been without my husband longer than I've been with him, and it hurts a lot. 2:04 Wednesday morning, I woke up to my phone ringing, and it was the hospital. And before I even answered it, I just said, "Oh God."
He wrote a note that he left in his phone, and part of it reads, "I love you guys with all my heart, and you've given me the best life I could have ever asked for." Sorry.
It's okay. Jonathan's good with his words, huh?
Yeah. Do you have friends and family around you?
I've been able to have, because my kids tested positive, and I was never tested, but they said it was safe to assume that I was positive because my entire family was. We've been able to have people come and help us as long as they wear masks and gloves, and they've just helped with the kids greatly because the last 2 days have been really hard, and I'm really trying, but I don't think I'm doing as good of a job as I wish I could.
I mean, obviously your kids are so young; they don't really know what's gone on.
No, I think that's the double-edged sword in it. I'm glad that they're so happy and they're loving and getting played with, and they think it's so much fun. But it's also, they don't know that they lost the greatest human being, and they'll only ever know their dad through pictures and memories and videos and this note. And to me, I feel like that's the worst part of this, is that they won't feel the love that I felt for the past 10 years with my husband. They'll know about it, but they can't say, like, I remember feeling that. And anyone who's never had the feeling of Jonathan loving them has seriously missed out. And it breaks my heart. And I know he was so scared to miss out on them growing up. And that's one of the hardest things too, is I know he didn't want this, and I know he didn't go feeling like he had done everything he needed to do. I know he left feeling scared and not wanting to go.
I can tell you my dad died when I was a little kid, and I know he really tried not to die because he didn't want to leave my brother and I and not have us know him. The only thing I can tell you is that they will know him through you, and the love you have for him, they will feel like they know him, because I know you'll tell stories about him as they grow up and for the rest of their lives.
This is CNN's Anderson Cooper speaking with Katie Coelho, who lost her 32-year-old husband, Jonathan Coelho, on April 22nd. And I think it's important to see clips like these because it shows that what we're dealing with is real. Being inundated with facts and figures and charts, it can dehumanize the coronavirus outbreak. It can turn it into a mathematical issue or a scientific issue or an economic issue. But it's more than that. It is a human issue. And behind the data is people like Katie, who with a 2-year-old and a 10-month-old has lost her husband. reopened. And look, I get that the shutdown is hurting people. I get that it's difficult to put food on the table and pay bills and cover expenses. Those suffering don't live in a vacuum. The entire country, the entire world is feeling this. But when we see Fox News personalities clamoring for the country to reopen, when we see protesters swarming state capitals demanding that they be able to get their hair done, when we see Republican politicians claiming that losing Americans is warranted in order to get business back on its feet, there is a human toll to that. It's people like Katie Coelho, who is just one of more than 50,000 Americans whose lives will never be the same. The tragic truth here is that at this point, we have a choice. We can stay the course and remain at home and try to contain the virus that is still peaking in many states, or we can reopen the country. That's it. There's no middle ground. This is binary. Once stay-at-home orders are lifted and businesses start to open back up, the number of cases will rise and we will once again see more casualties. Dr. Fauci has said it, the CDC director has said it, public health experts have said it, epidemiologists have said it, world leaders who aren't Republicans carrying water for Trump have said it. Reopening the country before the virus is contained will only lead to further spread of the virus. And while the virus is still spreading, our economy will not recover. Period. The fact is that those clamoring to reopen the country before the virus is contained are only hurting the cause that they're advocating for. What they're doing is self-defeating. These measures are put in place so that we can go back to work. But it's the protesters congregating by the hundreds in the middle of a global pandemic, the people who are outside waving flags and letting the rest of us know how patriotic they are, who are not only spreading the virus themselves, but advocating for easing restrictions that are working. So we get that you're impatient, but I promise you that waiting a few more weeks is not more difficult than someone else losing their husband or wife or grandma or grandpa or child or neighbor because hair salons were reopened too soon. And I don't like to get personal in these videos because this isn't about me, but both of my parents are healthcare workers and both still working. And knowing that their lives are in more danger every single day because Trump opted to downplay the severity of the outbreak for weeks on end, because Republican governors like Brian Kemp in Georgia are ending stay-at-home orders, not because it's the right time, it's clearly not, but because he wants to prove himself a good little foot soldier to Donald Trump, because Fox News and even other mainstream media networks have opted to give oxygen to every little 12-person stay-at-home order protest, that infuriates me. And it should infuriate you too. It should infuriate you if you know any doctors or nurses or essential workers or cashiers or grocery store clerks or any other of the thousands of people whose lives are put in immediate danger by virtue of the virus being prolonged. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or independent or Republican, it should be obvious that nothing is more important than keeping Americans alive. I would let the Dow fall to 0 before I'd risk the lives of my loved ones, and I'd bet every single person watching this would too. So we should keep people like Katie Coelho in our thoughts, not just because of the loss she's suffering, but to remind us that next time we could be in her shoes. And frankly, nothing is worth that. A GoFundMe has been set up for Katie and her family if you'd like to donate. The link is www.gofundme.com/FVBE3B-COVID-19-relief. The link will be in the post description. Thank you.